Hi, welcome to our third lecture in the video set. In this one, we're talking about good fiber and what the role fiber plays in all of this, and the difference between insoluble and soluble fiber. So, here we've just eaten a meal. Let's say you had your potatoes, and it's coming down, being digested, and normally we'd go through this pathway, kind of like what we talked about last week with the absorption of the different monosaccharides, and they'd go into the blood and raise your blood sugar. However, cellulose, or the cell walls of those plants, those good raw vegetables, they actually don't go through this process because we can't break them down. So these are called our insoluble fibers, and these will just travel through our intestine. So here's our small intestine, and it'll actually go to our large intestine and our colon, and we have some good bacteria there. And once this good bacteria feeds on the cellulose and breaks it down a little bit, they create this molecule called butyrate. Butyrate's important because it's actually a fuel source for the colon cells, but it also just helps clean our body up. And these pathways that have been turned on that we don't necessarily want to be on all the time, this butyrate will come and shut those off and turn on our good housekeeping genes, is what we like to call this. So this will be in our insoluble fiber. um, when you see dietary fiber or soluble fiber, that's more of our starch, and that's what can be broken down. So a common misconception is that we can subtract all fiber out, but the only of our total carbs, but the only fiber that we can actually do that with when we're looking at total carbohydrates is our insoluble fiber. Anything that's soluble will actually go through this and be digested, so we can't subtract that from our diet. So, like I said, insoluble fiber, the cellulose, will go to our microbiome and produce this molecule called butyrate. And butyrate will turn on some good genes that will help clean up, and we like to call those our housekeeping genes. This is called an HDAC inhibitor. So very important, especially with someone with diabetes. You don't want to be eating a lot of soluble fiber because it'll just end up in the blood and raise your blood sugar. But this insoluble fiber, the good cellulose, will not be raising your blood sugar, but rather it'll be turning on genes that you want for cleanup and restoration and cell regulation. So very important molecule.